for joining us on tonight's edition of Majority Caucus with me, Ali Dawood. My brothers and sisters, Ghana will not die. Ghana will live to give glory to God. These were the words that were known to be very familiar, or if you like, that characterize the demeanor of the late President Mills. And when he was alive, indeed, almost a year ago, the nation was brought to a standstill, because when our ancestors extended an invitation to the world of the living, it is His Excellency, the late President Mills, who responded. And since then, of course, he still lives in the eternal world. So tonight, we'll dedicate the program to looking at plans and arrangements that have been put in place to mark the first anniversary of the passing away of the late President Mills. And so we would do our best to make sure we capture all that matters in tonight's discussion on this show. But before we do that, I just want you to take a look at this promo quickly. When we come back, the discussion in the studio and my guests will be introduced to you. Stay with me.
My appeal is that we should ensure that this campaign is carried out in a clean manner. My brothers and sisters who are gathered here,
The President
of the Republic of Ghana, Professor John Evans Atta Mills.
The President of Ghana, John Atta Mills, has died.
President Mills has paid the ultimate price for this country.
Hello, welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. This is Majority Caucus live on your multi-TV, also live across the world on www.multitvworld/stream. Tonight, we have the official spokesperson for the National Planning Committee. If you like, you can call it the Funeral Planning Committee. By this time, we are not planning the funeral, we are planning the anniversary. And so, having joined in the studio by Mr. Kofi Nyantechi, and he will take us through what we need to know and what will be done. And I can assure you, because he has given me the earlier indication, that there are plenty roles for every Ghanaian to play, and so nobody will be left out. And that is why you need to stay tuned to the program. Thank you very much, Mr. Nyantechi, for coming.
Thank you, Lee.
First time on this program, yeah?
Yeah, my very first visit, yes. First time on the program, yes.
Mr. Nyantechi, I know there are lots that has to be done, really, but for the purposes of my viewers, I think that a better understanding of why we need to mark the first anniversary. Some people are saying, why not wait maybe the 10th, the 15th, the 5th, and why the first? So it is important, if you ask me, that the life history, a brief of it, of the late President Mills be told as a reminder. Perhaps people will see the need why we need to celebrate the first anniversary of his demise.
I think, Ali, the most important thing is to observe tradition. Okay. In any country, your tradition, your culture, your custom, you cannot do away with it. Okay. And by custom and by tradition, we do observe the 1 year anniversary of the passing on of anybody at all. Okay. Of course, Prof was not anybody at all, of course. But the critical thing for us really is that there would come a time when some of us will have to come to terms with the fact that he probably is not coming back.
Okay.
Resurrection is not his.
Okay.
Is that of the Lord's.
Indeed.
Okay. So a lot of Ghanaians mourned him. A lot of Ghanaians grieved. And as I speak to you, there are a lot of Ghanaians who are still mourning and grieving. Let's take the family out of it.
Okay.
Let's take the widow out of it. Let's take his child out of it. Let's take the entire family out of it. But the common Ghanaian who suffered in pain and in silence on the 24th of July is still grieving quietly. Now, after 1 year, I think there comes a time when there's got to be the closure.
Indeed.
And so, even if one believes in resurrection, one would have to be quite realistic by saying that I've waited for almost 1 year now, and I haven't seen Prof back. Okay. So if I haven't seen Prof back, then it means that Prof is not coming back. So let me accept the reality. Let me accept the inevitable that the Almighty God has actually recalled him back to his bosom. And as a result of that, those of us who are on earth here would have to live with that. That is the closure part of it for the 1 year anniversary.
Okay.
And that is why it is quite essential for every Ghanaian to observe this 1 year anniversary.
Okay.
Of course, there are the members of the family. I cannot foresee the widow ever forgetting this particular day.
It's not possible.
It's not possible. The entire family. And those who even worked closely to him, those whose lives have been affected by Prof, will never forget him until they also pass on to eternal glory. So this is the basic and the very fundamental fact that we all need to, at some point in time in our lives now, have to bring closure to this tragedy, and that befell us on the 24th of July. But let's face it, Prof affected all of us in so many ways.
Indeed, without a doubt.
He was different. If anyone worked up to him or anyone knew him, or those who heard his pronouncements on radio, on TV, and watched him on TV, you couldn't have helped but be affected by him.
That's Asomdwee.
Exactly. And you know why? He was a bit of a fresh air. Because we were so used to the cacophony of yelling at each other, screaming at each other. Even if we were having civil conversation, we tended most times to disagree in rancor, which was bad enough.
I call it vindictive politics.
Exactly. He never subscribed to those things and harassment and all those.
And I'm sure even that caused him some problems within his own government. Some people thought, hey,
exactly,
you need to be the hardcore, the firebrand type.
Exactly. And one goes through the traditions of the political environment in our country. And in going through the political tradition, you realize that probably the more you wanted to be heard, the harder you wanted to shout and scream. But sometimes you can get your message across without necessarily shouting or screaming at anybody. And that was Prof's forte. That was his strength.
I see. But Mr. Nyantichi, the difficulty some Ghanaians or most Ghanaians have is that they are struggling to pinpoint at one particular thing that they thought they should celebrate about Prof, and because he has done so much, and so it's a huge burden really if you want them to narrow it down to one particular thing. In your view, perhaps, what would you say that is most remarkable about his lifestyle?
A lot of times, for those of us who were a bit fortunate to have worked a little bit even closer to him, maybe by remote control, you do realize that he was a man who was quite unique and quite refreshing in the way he approached politics. He tried to introduce a new way of doing politics in the country. He was totally misunderstood by his peers, by his colleagues. Even his colleagues from the academia never understood why he had to involve himself in politics.
Okay.
But let us just deviate a little bit away from all the physical things that Prof promised that he would do, which he, in most times, fulfilled.
Okay.
You see, you cannot do politics. Let me put it that way. You cannot do politics in rancor. Everybody knows it never works.
Okay.
You can also contend with your neighbor by screaming at each other because nobody hears what it is that you're saying. So you cannot make sense, even if your enemy is making sense to you.
Yeah.
Because you're also screaming back, you cannot. He never liked that.
Okay.
He meant strongly whenever he talked about peace. He meant it. And you see, looking at the time that Prof emerged on the political scene, we had also emerged from the old PNDC period into the NDC period. And the NDC obviously had not anchored on these ideological or philosophical pillars of politics in the country.
Okay.
And it was during his period that the whole ideological pillar and philosophical pillar of social democracy, because he epitomized that.
Indeed.
He exemplified all that.
Of course.
So he believed that if I can provide you with water, I do not need all of you fighting over the water if I can bring the water in peace.
Okay.
And he never liked the idea of having to harass people. He wanted the law to take its natural course. And that's why he always, most of his frame was the usual thing, the acts of justice grind slowly, but it still gets there. Yeah. And then if you remember his major quote, of course, I'm slow but sure.
Yes. So, and doesn't care whose ox is God.
So you can understand that. I'm teasing out all these things so that one can understand the composite person that Prof was. Because he benefited from education, becoming a professor in the end, he believed strongly in education.
Okay, but let's look quickly at his relationship even with the leader of the opposition party. I'm talking about Nana Akufo-Addo, and how he, to a very large extent, if you ask me, was able to tolerate some utterances from his political opponents, and yet they peacefully coexisted in the same country, had a clean campaign.
That was to us, that was the highest level of tolerance in any political sphere or in any political space. You understand? Because a lot of people felt that I need to occupy this space, so I'm contending with you to occupy this space. But of course, power is so alluring that everybody wants it.
Indeed.
And so, as a result of that, your competitor will virtually do anything and everything to assume that power, arrogate that power to himself or herself. He knew he had the power because he was the president. He didn't have to express it openly to anybody. You walk up to him, or he calls you for a meeting, he sits in his very humble chair, he sits you next to him, you talk with him, he talks to you openly, he listens to you. By the time you get off the seat and you're leaving, you look back again and you begin to think,
is that the president?
Yes, that was the most powerful man I've just spoken with. Yeah. He didn't have to express it, but he knew who he was. He knew that intellectually he was one of the best.
I see.
You see that? So, with all these values and virtues that he had, he felt strongly that he did not really have to fight with people for attention. So, he felt that if you start screaming at me because you wanted to be in my political space, it means that you are contending with me for the power that I have. But I also want to listen to you, and he also wants to listen to you. Of course, if you remembered one day when Prof said, Nana Akufo-Addo, when I used to play football with him, he was our right winger, and he was at the centre back or something like that. And he looked back during those times and saw the benefits of unity as a team, as a teamwork. And he never felt strongly that his party alone was capable of building the country. He never subscribed to that.
At all.
He felt everybody had to be part of it. Everyone had to be part. In the sense that if your enemy does not teach you anything at all in this world, your enemy teaches you how to survive because of what your enemy plans for you and against you.
Okay.
You understand? So he has, Prof always had this at the back of his mind at all times. When you had the opportunity to speak with him, he didn't believe that, yes, people are insulting me. Of course, he's human being, or he was human.
Okay.
But you see, it is he drew the humanity of the human being. That was who he was. So even if you were angry, you insulted him, he wanted you to do that in a humane way. He said, criticize me about what the things that I have done right. And criticize me about the things that I also have done wrong. Because in your mind, what I have done right does not sit well with you. But the things that you think I've done wrong, let me know why I got it wrong.
Them. I remember, when some people were arrested for allegedly, insulting him, and he begged for leniency, he begged for mercy, and they were released, and it didn't go down well with some members of his own party. They thought that they should be dealt with. He thought that's not the best way to go.
You see, some of the political Machiavellis turned around to say that it was a political gimmick. He meant it.
Okay, that's who he really was.
Yes, he meant it. His main view was that, okay, so this was an insult. They did hurt me badly. As far as I'm concerned, no. Because I do not want to be distracted from the way I would like to build this country. That was the basis for his Better Ghana agenda.
Okay. This has been a very hot topic for debate, whether or not we should have perhaps a philosophy coined around his name, the study of Millsism, if you like, and that there should be something, if you could call it an institution, where people could be mentored and to, imbibing into themselves and their personal behavior some of these, very enviable qualities and characteristics.
There are two scenarios. I'm sure we'll get to that point. Okay. There are two scenarios that are going to come about. Professor, this one is a scoop now. Professor Kwame,
okay.
Professor Kwame Naho is going to deliver the inaugural memorial. What was it called? Lecture.
Lectures.
It will be on Monday, the 22nd. And I'm sure when we go through the program lineup. Yes, right. Professor Kwame Naho, as brilliant as he always has been, is also a very pragmatic politician and a very astute lawyer who worked with Prof over a long period of time, both from the academia and also in government. So he's known him for all that. Okay. So if there are going to be any ideological underpinning of what Prof stood for, I'm sure he should be able to tease that out. Okay. I think from a personal point of view, unfortunately, death is something else.
Yeah.
We could not wait until his second term, by which time he could have totally exhausted everything that he stood for in the implementation of his Better Ghana agenda. Okay. And that is a major regret. So coining a certain ideological phrase within 3 years, even though he was vice president for one term, 1997 to 2001, he was vice to a boss. Okay. So he could not naturally articulate his own political ideology and philosophy at the time. He could have done that, but you could see later on that these are values and virtues he held so dearly that he had been nurturing over a long period of time. There is also going to be a library that's going to be constructed in Cape Coast in his memory. And so all the things that Prof held so dearly are going to be intellectually written out, and they're all going to be intellectually designed in such a way that it would become a topic to research who Atta Mills was, what he stood for, what were the major values, what drove his passion to be so caring, to be so passionate, and passionate in kindness, passionate in believing in making people's lives a whole lot better than they were before. He never discriminated. He felt strongly, if you work harder, you should have your space in the whole political system to survive and thrive. Whether you wanted to be a billionaire, he would encourage you to be so. In as long as you followed the rules and regulations and the legal statutes and all that, he believed all those things. And he also felt that you did not need to be marginalized. No, you don't have to be marginalized because you come from the lower echelon of society. No, he really abhorred those things. And that really defined what a person he was, because he came from a middle-class family. His father was a headmaster teacher.
Had a serious respect for humanity.
Exactly.
I want to go for a commercial break, but when I come back, you would have to tell me what has become of the Asomdwee Park. There has been argument that it should be open for tourists and all that. So you tell me all about it. Stay with me. I'll be right back. Hello, and thanks for staying with us. You are still live on Majority Caucus with me, Ali Dawood, also live across the world on www.multitvworld.com/stream. I still have the spokesperson for the National Planning Committee of the late President Mills' 1-year anniversary, and it's Mr. Kofi Nyantechi. And so the discussion continues. We'll try to, like I said earlier, touch on most important areas before we leave the studio tonight. The Asomdwee Park, Mr. Nyantechi, we haven't heard anything. We thought arrangements were being made so that it could become a tourist attraction site for Ghanaians and people abroad.
It would be. A lot of issues are still under consideration at the presidency. Okay. We, as a planning committee, obviously are keen on making sure that the place is tidied up very well for the occasion. Okay. When we go through the program itself, you realize that Asomdwee Park actually features very prominently in all that, because it's very critical.
Because the initial hesitation was premised on the fact that that was the office of the president, and so security-wise it might not be proper. But now that has been relocated to Flagstaff House, perhaps actions will be expedited.
Yes, as I speak with you, the planning committee has visited the place. A lot of feverish work is ongoing. There's so much that is happening there in terms of sprucing up the place for the 24th of July. It's there. It's happening. All the hoardings, obviously, on the day will be removed, and afterwards, I believe that the place would then be well open for the general public. In fact, there are other construction work going on there whereby people can spend a whole day. There will be cafeteria. It's very well drawn out, very nicely well done indeed. But it's just that as we're speaking, the work is ongoing. And so we strongly believe that by the 24th, when it's then open and then the function takes place at the Asomdwee Park, you realize that it's a new Asomdwee Park.
Of course.
That does not resemble what it was before.
Okay. Mr. Nyantechi, let's now let's focus our attention on the program lineup. What do we need to know? The first item on the agenda.
Okay. First of all, His Excellency the President, John Mahama, set up the committee.
Okay.
under the chairmanship of Honorable Kofi Totobiko-Ache, and the leadership also of Commodore Steve Opimpe and other members of the planning committee.
Power leadership.
Yes. And during the deliberations, it came across that it wasn't something that you could just use one day and then let go. And we only came to this conclusion because of the outpouring of grief when Prof died.
Yeah.
He saw it. I mean, it's quite so evident.
I have the
We saw
tribute here.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Some of us still are very emotional about it.
We always will be.
Yes. For 2 days, no sleep at all, so to speak. So you can see that that one day was not going to be enough.
At all.
At all. So the suggestion, therefore, was to allow for a whole week celebration of the anniversary. Okay. Now, this 1 week was arrived at based on the fact that there should be different activities going on. So it starts on Sunday, the 21st. I think this very Sunday, the 21st.
Oh, okay.
Now, Ali, you know this Sunday would have been the 69th birthday of His Excellency the President. You know, he celebrated his birthday.
3 days
and
after.
3 days later, death laid its icy hands on him, and he was no longer there with us. So you understand that we want to make sure that the birthday is also celebrated.
Yeah.
And then we go to the National Theatre and we have a choral concert.
Okay.
On the
because I want us to follow perhaps what happens on each day, so viewers will know the proper program.
That's right. So
Okay.
that's as for the preparations, these are all ongoing, but the preparations are actually limited to the presidency and the planning committee, and then the others like yourselves who are all working hard, and of course our media friends and partners and colleagues. So they are all everybody's playing a certain part. So, but the actual activities would start from the 21st, which is the 21st this Sunday. So the choral concert will start off on Sunday about 3 o'clock.
Okay. And the venue for that?
And the venue for that is the National Theatre. It's open to all, but there will also be some restricted entries.
Of course.
You know why? Because already we are getting a lot of enquiries that people would like to be part of it, as they were part of it. And to us, it's important that you allowed a whole lot to be part of it, just as they were part of it during the actual funeral. So, and Ghanaians are already showing that kind of love and affection for the late president. Okay. So, 21st, it will be going to be quite exciting night. According to the choirs will be there. Performances, Prof. Ziati it's fantastic play that they are going to put up. And there will be song ministration, the gospel ministration, it will all be there for the. Then the Monday period, actually, we do have the lecture. Okay, we do have the lecture. And that's why I said Professor Kwame Nahoy is the one going to deliver the lecture. And then, of course, you know, every president, sometimes has a foundation named after him and all the rest of it.
I mean, so far, some street and some school, and even the Faculty of Law, University of Ghana.
That's right, yes. Sharing that with Professor Kuhien, that's right, this is all there. So I'm sure that, on the day, proper announcements will be made, in relation to such activities. And whatever it is, if it means that later on something is going to be done about how one can donate to the Atta Mills Foundation, how it's going to be, internationalized and all that. All these are issues that we are thinking through very, very carefully at the moment. And we will make our recommendations accordingly to His Excellency the President. But at least one thing is for sure, Professor Kwame Ahoy will deliver the speech. And I think it will be chaired by Professor Greenstreet. And that's fantastic. Exactly, fantastic.
But perhaps you can let us in on the theme of this.
Right. The theme we are discussing, and the theme actually is the sole preserve of Professor Kwame Ahoy. So
it still remains undisclosed.
It would come out during the press briefing on Thursday. This is another school.
It promises to be interesting.
Very, very interesting. And as I said to you, it might not deviate too far away from the real beliefs, what made Prof the composite man, the man that he always was, and the man who affected all our life. So that is also going to be there. That's for Wednesday. Now, on Friday, our Muslim brothers and sisters will say a prayer for the repose of the soul of His Excellency the late President. Chief Imam and the head of the Ahmadiyya Mission, the Al Sunnah,
the various regional.
They've all been informed accordingly. And we are very, very grateful to them for readily accepting to be part of it, even though they are fasting. But they want to make a special effort and support that. And we really, really, really genuinely and sincerely are very grateful to them. Then on Saturday, then there would be this, what's it called? No, I'll come back to the Wednesday, because that's where the Asomdwee Park thing is. So the Saturday, that will be where the foundation stone will be laid, for the construction of the Atta Memorial Research Library in Cape Coast. The discussions that are going on about that, I tell you, it's quite exciting, because it's that being exposed to the international world. And anyone who would like to do any research on humanity and all the rest of it will have the opportunity to go into that. In fact, that is being privately funded. Yes. Some of the telephone companies have very generously donated funds towards that, and other individuals and corporate entities are all making strenuous efforts to do that. And so that will be the SDA brothers and sisters and churches across the country will also say their prayers on the Saturday as well. Sunday we would have our interdenominational church service at the Robert Mensah Park, which is for all the discussions that are going on. It's going to be a very big one.
I can imagine.
Really. And that's why we couldn't contain the expectation that we will not be able to contain everybody in the church premise. So that's why the president will be there. And of course, we anticipate all our media partners will also be there.
Sure, multi-TV will be there.
Yes. Even today, I had several calls and from multi-TV and all that. Now, let's look at Wednesday.
Good.
You see, the Wednesday program has been so scheduled in such a way that Prof may be briefed for the last time around 2:15 on the 24th of July. So the services and activities for the day would all be inclined towards that period. Because at the Asomdwee Park, there will be the general public, there will be the dignitaries, there will be the diplomatic corps, but the military will perform its usual chief of staff rituals on that day. You know, when the military are doing things, perfection.
Yes.
And from
discipline.
And from what they have showed us, excellent.
I can see.
And we know that they will deliver on the day. And we are most grateful to them. This is the chief of the commander-in-chief anyway. So all that's been lined up. So by the 2:15, what is going to happen is that they will sound a bugle, and wreaths will be laying. That's a wreath laying ceremony. Wreaths will be laid at the Asomdwee Park by virtually all the dignitaries, including the family and all that.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, there's going to be an international hockey match. You know, Prof
Yeah.
and his
Loves hockey.
Prof and his hockey. So the Ghana Hockey Federation have actually, they've come up with a very good selection of international.
This also happening on Wednesday.
On the same Wednesday.
Okay.
I
Wednesday
think
looks
Nigeria,
loaded.
very much. Nigeria is involved, Ghana, Nigeria, and I think South Africa and one more country yet to be confirmed. They're all going to be there. And this is all in memory of, what's it called? The late president. Now on the Saturday, you know, the Panafest is started. The preparations and other things have started going on and all the rest of it. And it's supposed to climax on Saturday, the 27th, when His Excellency the President will lay the foundation stone for the research library. We obviously have been very, very fortunate and privileged that the organizing committee under the Ugwama Hene, they have decided to dedicate the climax of the event in the name of His Excellency the President.
We're
and
most
it's
grateful to them.
absolutely moving. Absolutely
grateful.
moving. When we heard the story, we just felt that nobody had thought about it.
Yeah.
But they just came out. And this really comes back to confirm, you know, the highest esteem that people have held Prof in. Yeah. Even though people did not express it so openly when he was alive.
I mean, I deliberately stayed away from some of the. I mean, when you read some of the tribute, really, you wonder, oh, okay, so you knew all this, you know, and all that. But
it's quite amazing, and we really are grateful. And to add to that also, the land on which the library is going to be constructed, the land was donated by the Cape Coast, that's the Ugwa Traditional Authority.
They deserve numerous applause.
Exactly. Supported by the Cape Coast Municipal Assembly. They donated that plot of land. In actual fact, that plot of land is quite adjacent to the Cape Coast Castle.
Oh, okay.
So there's a land
very
between
strategic.
Yes, and it's sandwiched between the castle and the commercial bank. So any visitor coming in here cannot avoid but get into the Atta Mills Library.
I see.
To read something about this extraordinary man who affected, in a very short period of time, affected the lives of a lot of people, both international. And you know, what people have said, and if you read the tributes, you realize that on the quiet, heads of state were consulting him on major issues because of his calm demeanor.
When he declared the Ufiasam and
people were, they misunderstood him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know, we play politics now, and he had a comical way of looking at things. Say, "Hey, so Asambia, Asemesi obi fi na osusu fi say, I said to Ufiasam."
Very easy and simple, you know. On that note, Mr. Nyantichi, allow me to go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, I have the official spokesperson in the studio. The discussion on Majority Caucus continues. Stay with me. Be right back. Hello and welcome back to the show. This is Majority Caucus Live on your Multi TV. We are still here with Mr. Kofi Nyantichi, the official spokesperson for the National Planning Committee of Atta Mills anniversary. And you've heard about the membership. The chairman of the committee is the Most Honorable Tudobi Kwache, and of course with his colleagues. And so we'll continue with the program lineup. At the later part of the program, I would activate the phone line so you can join in with your contribution. If you have any questions you want to ask, any clarification, Mr. Nyantichi is the man to speak to. Mr. Nyantichi.
Yes, Ali.
The issue about donation, I remember a year ago when we were planning the funeral, I mean, donations were made. But this time around, I don't know if you have anywhere when people want to make donations, they can bring them. You know.
Yes, thank you, Ali. What's happened is that we also started getting calls from individuals as well as corporate entities, some of the banks have made initial calls and inquiries and all the rest of it. So what we've done is that because of the shortness of time, was that if anyone has any donation to make, there have been promises that some of the companies want to give us water for the public. They want to give soft drinks also for the public, as they did during the funeral. Others have also decided that they will donate funds to assist in their own small ways, like Ketuabia and Widow's Mite kind of thing. So all these things are going on as of now. So what we did, we had a press release. I would say that anyone wishing to be part of it, and in the sense of making a donation, can please come to or send someone to bring the donation to the State House where we operated the last time during the funeral. It will be publicly acknowledged. You'll be listed out and said that this is the contribution that you made.
As was done.
As was done before. If you are so inclined that you want the media to see what it is, we will willingly want the media to, and we'll do that. And of course, what really is important for us is also even the donation of the from the media houses. Some of them are, when the new song has come out, everyone thinks it's absolutely fantastic. This was done in a short time by this sound engineer called Nasi. And it's out now, and it's going to be played throughout the country. It started going out, and absolutely fantastic. And some of the media houses are donating airtime. There are those that are also asking for the video. We'll bring the video along for them to. So that is the media's donation. Usually, in the media, we don't like giving money at all. So we are hoping that anyone who would like to donate anything shall be at liberty to bring whatever it is to the State House.
So on that note, you can reach us and the discussion on 030221170124. You've heard Mr. Nyantichi. If you have anything you want to donate, the place to do that is the State House. When you come, there are people there assigned for that kind of responsibility, and you duly be acknowledged as indicated. Please make sure your calls are restricted to the discussion about Prof. Mills' first year's anniversary. Okay, have a first caller. Alex.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Good evening, Alex.
There is that Alex calling from Mopon, the incoming youth organizer for the NDC.
I understand you want to use my platform for campaign, but no worries. You're on air.
Okay, thank you very much. And how I met my father of Mercy. I hope everything is going to be well, and may the good Lord let him rest in perfect peace. And we are all behind. We are throwing our support behind the committee so that they can deliver us with a good morning for our 1 year anniversary. Thank you very much, my brother.
You're most welcome, Alex. I have another caller, Andrew.
Yes, good evening, Ali, and good evening to your guest.
Good evening, Andrew.
I want to make a special appeal that Prof was a very peaceful man. He left us a peaceful country, and I think that as a nation and where we've got into, this is a very critical time that God in his own wisdom is using Prof's memorial service to remind us to hold each other in unity and remember that together we can move Ghana forward. Divided we shall fall as a country. God bless his soul, and may the Lord continue to grant him eternal mercy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. I have another caller. Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Elliot Walker from West Legon.
Elliot, you're on air.
I just want to use this opportunity to congratulate my father, Honorable Bikwati. He is the chairman of all this organization. And I want to congratulate all the members who are sitting on the table organizing for my late father. And all together, I want to congratulate all the Ghanaians. Okay. And I know the 1 year is coming successfully, and through to the Honorable to the party, I know everything will go successfully. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Elliot, for your contributions. I have another caller, Charles. Hello, Charles.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. I want to thank you and your panelists this evening for the great job you are doing.
Okay.
And to also contribute in my own small way for the first anniversary of the late president.
Okay.
I want to suggest that the late president has lived life that was imitating. And I want to suggest that authorities should do their best as a nation to let the steady lifestyle of Prophet Amir, which I think might bring a lot of transformation among our younger folk. That's my vision. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I have another caller. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, your name and where you calling from?
I'm Razak calling from Tamale.
Okay. Go ahead, Razak, you're on air.
Yeah. What I'm going to say is that we should pray for the soul of Prophet Evans Attamas, the late prophet. May he rest in perfect peace. This man was really a great man. You could see the month in which he died. It was in a fasting time. And fasting time is the greatest moment in life of Muslims.
Yeah.
And when this man died, you could see how the whole nation was shocked. Even opposition members crying. It tells you that this is really a great man. We have lost a great man. And let's pray for God to get us another man.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your contributions. I have another caller. Hello. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Your name? Where are you calling from?
Enoch calling from Isita.
Okay, Enoch. Welcome to Caucus.
Thank you very much. We just meet a humble president, His Excellency, Dr. Williams. And I'm very sad this evening when I saw the visual rolling on television. I'm very, very sad, and I've remembered him a lot. I'm sort of weird. Greetings the incoming youth organizer, that Alexa Fatima. Thank you very much.
Okay, I mean, even as we mourn the death of First, people are still campaigning. Anyway, I have another caller. Hello.
Hello, good evening, boss.
Your name, where are you calling from?
Oh, my name is Asha. I'm calling from Sinyani.
Okay, Ashavin, you're on air.
Oh, boss, today I'm so impressed about the way you are doing. If to be me, we should celebrate yearly, always. Because this man, what he done for Ghana within a shortest time when we were ruling as the government of Ghana, matter. You can't believe it. I'm very grateful.
Okay.
So, brother, I'll be taking part.
Okay, of course.
Whenever you will celebrating, because this man, even in my side, even more than Kwame Nkrumah, because what he came to do in Ghana within 3.5 good years. Oh, brother, we should appreciate what he has done. So, with the organizers and the planning committee of his funeral, I will appreciate for them what they have done. All Ghanaians, they are behind them. So we support them day in, day out, except those who don't want Ghana to be progress.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. I have my final caller on the line. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, your name and where you calling from?
I'm Peter. I'm calling from East Maputo district.
Okay, Peter, you're on air.
I want to actually say that Mills was the father to all. We miss him, and he was a selfless leader. There are a lot to learn from him, and we wish him all the best in eternity. Bye.
Okay, thank you very much for your views. Finally, your final words.
I think final words is sometimes, if you are not careful, you get choked on what you hear.
Clearly.
And a lot of people didn't realize that we had such a simple story to tell about a very great man. And that's why you could feel that people have become so very emotional. And they're not emotional because they are also watching it. They're emotional because they now remember what has been a missing link in their lives. Fortunately for them, we have a president in President John Dramani Mahama, who is virtually following in the footsteps. Of course, they're all unique in their own ways, and they do things in their own unique ways. the general belief is that Professor Mills' demeanor, his general conduct, his calmness in the face of such adversity, something that all of us would have to learn. And it's our earnest appeal that during this period, all of us should come together again, as we did during the last time. Forget about our little difficulties, local difficulties. Forget about what team were coming. Forget about all those things for now, for that 1 year anniversary. And then let us make sure that at least this great man is remembered in the first anniversary.
Thank you very much.
For what he stood for.
Thank you very much for coming, Mr. Nyanteji.
Thank you.
And I hope that this will not be the end. And when we need Mr. Nyanteji in the course of the anniversary, we will call upon him, and we are very sure that he shall respond. And thanks for being part of the show. And the week has started, and so continue to be part of the remembrance anniversary of the late President Mills. As we mourn him, we also do celebrate him. And then do your best in your little corner to make sure that his memory is worthy of emulation. And I'll be here on Thursday, God willing. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
My appeal is that we should ensure that this campaign is carried out in a clean manner. My brothers and sisters who are gathered here,
the President of the Republic of Ghana, Professor John Evans Atta Mills.
The President of Ghana, John Atta Mills, has died.
President Mills has paid the ultimate price for this country.